In light of recent events, I wanted to bring a few things to your attention. We all see a certain layer of propaganda being used just across the board if you turn on the news, you can kind of see there's always an agenda, a seed being planted in the minds of millions.
But propaganda is an important force in our society today.
And recently, a strong indoctrination of one-sided science. And different things have went on, and I think the fathers brought my attention to certain things. I had a video recently removed. Hi, my name's Landon. I had posted it on Facebook at first, and several different groups, some Christian, some just local pages for around the city, and it was all removed at once. And some of these places were like the Now You See TV fellowship group. And in the beginning, I was like, is there something wrong with this? You know, almost reached out to the admins, and then friends of mine who have created pages, it was removed from theirs as well, and I mean within seconds. So it was long enough for people to see it, but shortly after that, it was taken away. And I realized that all at once, it was removed, and then I started receiving messages that I was releasing false information. And I can only think that it was the one sarcastic comment that I made. You can't catch it on the benches, but you can catch it in the playground. You can't catch it at Walmart, but you can catch it at church. In it, because the entire thing was based on facts. I've never really cared about the time that everything would be taken down, and I would no longer have, a channel, because of the odd things that I've spoken of, the real deal spiritual warfare stuff that I just didn't think anyone would believe. Some of them were made when I only had 20 subscribers, and I just kept telling my experience and what had happened to me, and more people kept subscribing. And I prayed over all of them, and I always thought that whenever it's taken down, it got to everybody that was supposed to see it. And so the censorship never really bothered me. As my video was taken down, I woke up the next morning. They had removed it from YouTube as well at 3 a.m. And I received an email that told me that it went against the community guideline standards. We all know the same story. They don't tell you what it is. You can fill out a form and send it in, but they don't tell you what part or how you violated that. They just, removed it. So why waste my time? But I started thinking about
Propaganda
being pushed around, and how it washes over us and we don't even see it. You can find scientific facts that tell the real story about how to combat issues with the body, and different homeopathic ways to reverse diabetes and things like that. And you can bring those things to people, and they will give you an excuse. I've always steered away from saying the word flat when talking about a certain subject, because it triggers a response, an eye roll. They know for certain that what they've been shown is the truth. And so you bring, the math of a giant organization that says there's a curvature of a certain thing, and you can prove to someone that you can see a building way off in the distance, the bottom of it, and it washes over them. And as I was thinking about this, bringing truth to someone that rejects it, and that word flat, and why I never use it, because I don't want to trigger their response. And I started thinking, somewhere, flattening the curve, somewhere, whether it's AI, people in power, or just a think tank, they said the people that are going to catch on to this and realize that something's up with it, the ones that question everything, we'll say 50% of them believe in this quantum effect, 70% of them believe that in this flat thing. And so if we make a phrase to add into this whole thing called flattening the curve, maybe it will be more readily accepted. And I thought over this. There was a video, and I've told some of the men that I go to with things, looking for, you know, spiritual guidance or their opinion on something. But in 2016, there was a video that came up, and it was just about how the mind works. Like, I'm talking Tavistock Institute information, and it was boring, and it was that computer voice, but I understood everything that it was saying, and it really registered with me. And it's not on. I wanted to share that with everyone, and I hope one day that somehow you able to see it. But the way that beliefs work, and how you'll fight someone over a belief, even if it's not the truth, but you've already accepted it as the truth. And I really believe that the phrase "flattening the curve" was planted because they understand that a certain amount of people have been trying to talk to everyone else about something that they will readily reject, so that those people will accept the quarantine. And then I started, you know, thinking about all sorts of different sides of propaganda. If you look back to last year, right around the end of the year, we started seeing videos of people falling over with masks on. A lot of people wear masks in China. It's just sort of their culture. But they would fall out in the streets, and then the news kept repeating this word, the big C. And there was a slow indoctrination of all that. And then everyone started behaving differently because they saw stuff on the news. I'll give you another example of propaganda that no one questioned. Sometime last year, people started fighting over chicken sandwiches at Popeyes. Just from videos that they saw on Facebook. People getting in fist fights and acting insane, bringing guns to Popeyes over a chicken sandwich. And then all of a sudden, everyone wanted to go to Popeyes. And all that was done with little to no actual advertising revenue being spent. There's a commercial on YouTube now, and it starts out, it's this guy that goes, "This is a tomato, and tomatoes are bad for you. They make you fat." That's basically what he's saying. I'm sure some of you have seen it, and I'm willing to bet that as the months pass, the further north you are, you will eventually get to see it. Because in Louisiana, it's like, you know, I got tomatoes growing right now. I've been picking them. And right around the time that, you know, it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, the TV puts a bad taste in your mouth about, you know, fruit. Now it's dangerous. Now it's bad for you. And I think back to that old serpent, and how cunning that he must have been. And if the eyes are the window to the soul, there's these little seeds being planted all over to make you want to go to a store for a chicken sandwich, to make you not eat, you know, the things that you grow, to make you accept something because there's one word in it that somewhere something thought it would register with you. Another scary thing is I keep seeing people going, well, you know, in these blue states, it's this thing's out of control, and in these red states, it's not. And I keep seeing that, and there's some truth to it, but the divide and conquer thing is working. It's another piece of the tool to get a country that has a concept of rights given by God and true freedom, and you cannot trample on that. Not by the state, but by God, to get it to eat itself.
Propaganda skillfully employed to turn millions of men to a cruel hatred of their fellow men.
To destroy itself, to plant a seed for civil unrest, and however far that people are willing to take it. Because instead of, love covers a multitude of sins. Just remember that. Be very articulate. And don't use sarcasm because, Anyway, I could keep rambling. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. And really, really think at everything that you take into your eyes. What's the seed there? Where is it from? What's the spiritual aspect of it? I shared a video with the reporter from the local news in Baton Rouge when the Tony Spell thing broke, that pastor. And it's sort of turned into a circus. I'm not for or against him. I don't really know what's going on down there. But I just shared it in a video, an earlier video. And then the next time that I got a notification from them, wasn't their next video, but the next time I got a notification from them, they were talking about opening up. And I noticed the difference in the how she had done her hair and the dresses, and that the one about the pastor, she was wearing blue, you know, representing a lot of the, I'm not going to break all that down, but I just see a spiritual aspect to it that I don't even think that they were aware of as they were getting dressed, because in the very next one, her hair is done up and she's wearing a snakeskin dress. Virgin Mary to anyway, just to be clear, this is my point. The first video was about the church. Blue dress resonates, you know, hair subtle. The second one was reporting on the state opening back up and the relief and the ridiculous amount of 25% capacity and all that the governor came up with, yet it's pretty much the same across the country, but it's presented as the governor's plan. And I think that we interact with spirits and principalities all day long, and we make decisions on some of that. I don't, you know, I know all that stuff is produced. I'm not saying anything about the reporter or the decisions that other people made, but there was a decision made in one, and the topic was on a church, and there was a decision made in another, and the topic was the government and what a relief it would be to open up at 25% capacity and all these crazy rules that we see that are being practiced today. That's all. Not about the reporter, about the spiritual aspect of it. There's a reason we're told to pray without ceasing and to have that open dialogue with the Father. I think turning to the right or to the left is far easier than we can even conceive, because every man's ways are right in his own mind. So it's like, do you see what I'm saying? And we're constantly being fed little seeds of propaganda. God bless. Have a good day.